Did y'all know that my favorite meta of NU is Gen 3? You probably did because I've mentioned that before, but did you also know that we actually just hosted a Gen 3 NU tournament where Glalie was banned? That's right. In this tier, Glalie is considered potentially too overbearing to stay in the format. And so we had a little tourney where it was banned and people could see how they felt the meta was without it, you know, being there, being great. And we've got some posts as a result of this. Some people think that the meta was improved drastically and that team building felt really freed up. Others were like, yeah, no, the Glalie is not actually a problem at all. There's no point. All that to say, we're going to cover some series, of course, from this tournament. This is actually a random finals matchup that I just decided to look at. I just kind of felt like it because, you know what? Why not? It's the finals, is the most hype one. So today we're going to be covering Bughouse versus Plisno Step. It was a round robin finals, by the way, which means there were actually 3 people in finals. So, haha, you don't know who won. Na 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 na. But I thought it was a very cool series, and it did showcase, to some degree, I would say, what Glalie's lack of presence means for the tier in terms of some other Pokemon you see. And by other Pokemon, I mean the other Spikers. Anyhow, y'all been enjoying the type of content we've been putting out lately. Y'all appreciate what I'm doing for y'all. For the Hurricane comes and ravages everything that I hold near and dear to me. Subscribe. Subscribe. God, please. Anyhow, there's no team preview, so we see lead. Chan versus Pika. Great lead for Bughouse. Plisno Step has to switch immediately because Chan is bulky enough to live. Uppercut damage on Swalot there reveals this is not Banded Chan, so you're probably expecting Lefties or Lumberry, because what other item is Hitmonchan running? The answer is there's not another item. Anyhow, we see a double switch here. Sableye gets in on the Pidge. Obviously, that's great for it because it tanks 2 hits very easily. And we see a knock on the Deflare, which will just help keep this one low long term. Now we see Plisno Step try to sub. The problem is Bughouse is aware of this calc. Wailord lives T-Bolt and follows up with the Surf. Now, I, at the time, was kind of like, damn, is this right, though? Because Flareon was just revealed. Flare now has a lot more room if you don't have another answer on your team. Now, we end up learning this Sableye does have very nice mixed defenses, which, let's be real here, that is literally the ideal EV spread. And we actually end up seeing, too, more importantly later on, this Flareon is not max special attack. It's actually got double edge. Now, this is a set that I actually have not seen before. Normally BP Flareon, you see like Baton Pass, one of like Wish or Toxic or Sub, you can do any of them. And then you'll see Fire Blast, Hidden Power, either Electric or Grass. That's like the standard. So to see Double Edge indicates this is not max special attack, and you're actually going to end up seeing this. Sableye, as a result, can check it very easily. And why do you run Special Bulk on Sableye? I'm sorry, I keep pausing, just bear with me. Sableye is commonly tasked with checking things like Chimecho and Haunter, but it's also a good mixed Flareon check because it ends up actually avoiding 2 shots from Fire Blast a decent amount of the time. Anyhow, we're going to keep seeing this as a thing throughout the entire battle. This Hitmonchan is going to just keep uppercutting. Swalot keeps getting forced in. And another trend you'll see too is the Swalot does not know how to poison Sableye at all. We see Chan switch in, we see Lefties revealed. You also see Chan actually ends up dodging a 2-hit KO as well, which is really good for Bughouse. Unfortunately for him, he's not an EQ Chan, because this variant just doesn't really want Earthquake. So he does have to keep switching to Sableye, but it's perfectly fine, because Plisno Step doesn't have a Ghost type on his team. He's relying on Swalot entirely to check, you know, Chan, essentially. There's not really a ton else Ghost type. I guess, normal types as well, but he actually has a steal for that, so it is what it is. Chan comes out on the Toxic, and you immediately heal Bell. Calm Mind's actually what comes out instead, which forces Bughouse out, because Dugong very commonly is going to have the Encore. Gets Chan a little extra lefties, though, which is cool. I don't know how much it'll matter long term, but it's a thing. As we do see a double switch too, once again getting Sableye in, which means another free Seismic Toss. Hi-yah! Drops out Mawile right on its neck. And this Sableye, you're gonna eventually realize this Sableye may as well, for all intents and purposes, be immortal. It just refuses to die. And here's what I was talking about too, by the way. Took a lot of damage there, but it is at least able to tank the Fire Blast without being completely neutralized, right? So Toxic Mist kind of sucks. He would have had an 18% ripped off there. The also, by the way, based on this damage, I do think this Flareon actually still has a lot of special attack. Traditionally, double-edged flare is like gonna be Silk Scarf with more attack, but I think it's the opposite. Instead, it's got more special attack, and then they're just throwing in double edge to I honestly don't know. I don't know what double edge is doing here. Help against water types, I guess, because they don't feel comfortable with the matchup. I don't know. Some special wall I'm not thinking of. Something like that. Anyhow, Chime comes out. They can get a heal ball off now, and here you can just throw off an HP Fire or a Psychic. I'd do Psychic here, just not wanting to let Flareon in. As you see, Bughouse agrees. And I mean, this is fine that you took the Toxic again. You could frankly just pick up your KO with Psychic if you want. You could heal Bell again too. My concern with that type of play though is you end up opening up Toxic spam, which, I mean, then Mawile starts getting more and more healthy, which that's not really important. It's more just you're wasting your heal bells. Chan able to pivot in on this, potentially out of range of the follow-up Ice Beam. Blizzard Step, very, as you see, uninterested in finding out whether it is. And we're gonna just keep playing out this sequence again, so we're gonna skip some turns. Swallow actually feels Shadow Ball there, which is cool. Obviously, that's supposed to hit Haunter, which otherwise would wall you. And once again, we see Sabai come out, or not come out, but stay in against Flareon. And this is what I was talking about earlier, with how Sabai can actually just check Flareon. Because also recover with 32 power points is hilarious considering it's at 8. But as you see, Flareon just runs out of Fire Blast. It can't actually beat Sabai. Also, this would have been dead to Toxic damage by now, but don't worry about it. Vig's gonna pick off the Mawile there. Pidgeot comes out, doubles into Dugong, presumably to get Sabai in. A bit of a favorable angle here. If you can get enough chip on Sabai at this point, it does look like maybe you could get a game going with like Flare and Pidge. Like, if this one's weakened enough, one of those two could probably do something, right? So we see Pidgeot once again get out. This time versus the Vigoroth. And Blizzard Step goes for the weakest aerial ace I've ever seen. That is very much not Choice Band. It's probably like Silk Scarf Pidgeot, if I had to guess. This is not running max physical defense. I'm sorry. It's not a Vigoroth set. And like said earlier, watch this Sabai eat all these Sludge Bombs without a single poison. Even gets crit here. No poison, though. How about no poison? What about, again, no poison? This mod has used Sludge Bomb 6 times. And unless I'm forgetting the percentage, I'm pretty sure this has the same chance to poison that Scald has to burn, right? Here you go, one on Chime too, no poison. This is the worst Swallow I've ever seen. The mod does not know how to poison anything. So, Flareon once again comes out. Fire Blast the Vig does 500,000, but it doesn't matter because it eats the hit up. You are outsped, but Double Edge just is not doing nearly enough. And Vigoroth, obviously, I was gonna say it's gonna slack off here. Literally in my head forgetting though, Gen 3, how turn order, not turn order, but turns work when there's KOs, self KOs specifically. Whoopsies. So Vig ends up getting brought low by the sacrificial Flareon, KO'd by the Pidgeot. And again, you think your Swalot has any chance of getting a poison? I regret to inform you, this is not that world. 9 Sludge Bombs, not a single one got a poison. Not a single one. Oh, hold up. Hold on, I forgot. There's a 10th too. Didn't get a poison. Wait, is there an 11th as well? Did I forget the? Oh, I did. The elusive 11th Sludge Bomb. Not getting a poison. What an incredible Pokemon, guys. What an incredible team slot. Doing absolutely nothing. And this is not an indictment on Swalot the Pokemon, but it sure as hell is an indictment on this specific Swalot. Also, we see earlier, the Ice Beam damage on Chime definitely was going to pick it off there. Or was it on Chan? I forget which one. Regardless, Ice Beam picks off Chime. And then we see the... What just died on the other side? Oh no, Chime died here. And then Pidgeot died there, and then, yeah, okay. That's what happened. Or, these last few turns didn't matter. This Sabai, disgusting. Walled pretty much Blizzard Step's entire team once Pikachu died. Because Flareon just isn't strong enough to overwhelm it on its own. If Sabai's at full, you're getting 1v1 because it will stall you out of your Fire Blasts. I don't know what this thing's last move was. I'm really not sure. I think it would have used Toxic at a point if it had Toxic. It would have used Wish probably as well. It probably would have subbed even. Maybe not, but I don't know. I think you'd be sub pass on this team though. Try to get Pikachu in a little bit more safely. You don't need sub pass because these two just naturally have pretty nice offensive synergy. And Flareons are really good at getting in Pokemon that Pikachu just bunks anyway. So you don't necessarily need to have the sub for the extra safety, but... Oof, yeah, this was a brutal one. This was a brutal matchup. Does this next game go any better? Well, lead matchup is Wailord into Octillery. So the way this usually plays out is one of two things will happen. Either the Octillery will run away because Wailord is just naturally a lot bulkier and as a result generally trades a bit more favorably, and lead Wailord most of the time are offensive. Or the Octillery can opt to T-Wave the Wailord, take 1 HP Electric, and then like switch to your Grass type, because your backup check's probably going to be like a Roselia. Potentially a Glalie, but naturally this has been no Glalie tournament, so there's no Glalies to be had. So, as we see, Step opts to immediately run away for fearing for their life, goes to Roselia, and I mean, kind of does what I said. They paralyzed them turn 2. And now, Cacturne gets paralyzed, but it doesn't matter. We just see the honorable trading of the spikes. Each opponent, each player, opting for 3 layers, and in Cacturne switching out into Chime, and you're going to see this Chimecho pop off this game. These 3 layers of spikes end up being insanely important. Keep in mind, Calm Mind Chimecho, HP Fire is a very common move on it. We've seen some Chimes go like Calm Mind, Psychic, and we've seen like some stuff with Toxic before. Unless I'm mixing up my sets. I feel like I've seen some non-HP Fire Chime lately though with Calm Mind. Regardless, this damage with spikes is super necessary because it's gonna weaken Metang. So you may not see the damage really stick now, but rest assured, later on this mon is going to get chipped. You can tell that just from seeing these little pointy guys on the floor. Protect here for free lefties. Of course, Ice Beaming predicting the Rose to come out there. It's kind of a whatever plan. We see Step reveals backup bulky water type, but is it really bulky when it takes 29 from a Hydro Pump and then dies the following turn to Hidden Power whatever the hell? Okay, it didn't die, but it may as well have died. Like, dude, Dugong, what are you doing, brother? And we see Step actually opt here to trade off their Dugong for the Wailord, probably deciding partly that Metang gets opened up with the Wailord gone, or at the very least significantly weakened. Now Plusle comes out, and this is where the game starts getting really bad for Step, as Golbat's forced out and Plusle gets to now sub-pass, and they're gonna opt to bring in the Chimecho again. And this is where we reveal this Chimecho is a kind of rare set nowadays, but it is offensive Taunt Calm Mind. So this is a really cool set. Taunt in this generation sucks. You're gonna see after turn 17, you're not gonna see because they switched out. But Taunt essentially lasts 1 turn. For if you're like a slower Taunt. If you're faster, you may deny a move that turn, but then Taunt will only last 1 turn extra. It's a very bad move. But you're gonna see this big damage. That is very offensive. And Taunt, of course, would have shut down this from going for Stun Spore, which is very helpful. It actually did shut it down. So Torque goes down, and this is why getting Metang weakened earlier helps so much, even with just having the spikes now. Bam. Just dead. This tells you as well it's very offensive on Chimecho. As far as I'm aware, I'm pretty sure, maybe not very offensive, but it's got some offensive VVs. You know what I can do? I can even just check here. Hold on. Let me just check here. Make sure I'm not delusional. Make sure I'm not lying to my wonderful viewers watching at home right now. Offensive Calm Mind. Alright, yeah, I know, I was right. Definitely has some special attack EVs. There's your +1. So I'm not delusional. Let's go! Or the Metang is some weird EV spread, which, yeah, no. So this somehow lives. That is some dastardly roll, and just because I'm curious, I want to show y'all how much this normally does. Oh my god, it was like perfect 50% to KO. Actually, I guess no, it was actually a little in favor for him to live. Regardless, Psychic doing 80 feels evil. And you see this paralysis actually ends up being super clutch. He doesn't end up getting a roll afterwards to KO with the Surf, but he does at least weaken Chime. It doesn't matter at all, because after picking off this KO on the Chime Echo, Bughouse reveals an Abra. Oh, I lied. He reveals Plusso first. And then he substitutes again, and Baton passes into the Abra. But Abra sucks, so it does 80 to Roselia, takes 58 from a game. Like, this mon is just dreadful, but it's, of course, gonna be plenty to win this. So you can't even look at this through the idea of Chime kind of wall breaks for Abra. I think it's kind of just one of them will support the other regardless in the game. You're either gonna get Abra in earlier, and it's gonna start weakening the Matang on the opponent's side, or maybe even if they have like a rare dark type like Murkrow, which is pretty uncommon nowadays, or God forbid, the Pichu Flash special, Mighty Yenna. But yeah, this ended up being one of Bughouse's finals games, well, final series, and he had, I believe, a very strong performance. Game 1, definitely a little lucky on his end, and I think Plisno Step could have easily won if Sabai was poisoned, because Flareon then would have actually had odds of breaking it long term, especially when that Wailord went down. There still were fallback options for Bughouse. Keep in mind, versus the Flare, you had Hitmonchan taking only like 50 from Fire Blast, and Vigoroth also was able to avoid a 2-shot. So it's not like the game would have just been won by Plisosep, but it would have helped him out quite a lot. Maybe even with Pidgeot trying to do something. I feel like that would have been the main beneficiary, if I were to point to one. But I hope y'all enjoyed. Yeah, let me know your thoughts down below if you play this format at all. How do you feel about Glalie? Do you think that it's fine to keep around in the tier? Do you think it should be banned? And hey, even if you don't play the tier, how weird is it to hear Glalie is considered overbearing in a format? This is not like moody evasion boosting Glalie either. This is just a raw Glalie, man. With spikes and Generation 3 explosion is very funny. But hope y'all enjoyed. See y'all in the next video. Peace.